What's going on, everyone? Do you guys ever wish that you could bring a gat back to the Han Dynasty era and just absolutely go pew pew to Lubu's stupid ugly face and rule all over the nations with immense power? Well, lucky for you, I have... What's that? There's no guns in Wolong. And I'm just going to embarrass myself by making a clickbait title? Come on, who even asked you? You don't even matter here, you're just a weird whispering sound. Okay, anyways, what I was about to say before I was rudely interrupted with that, yes, we may not have a fully automatic rifle to shove down players' throats, but we do have the next best thing, which is a martial art called Starlight Blade. Basically, this is the closest thing that we're going to get to a pew-pew in this game. What Starlight Blade does is that it splits your weapon up and shoots them at your enemy. The longer you hold this down, the more swords it comes out, splitting up to a maximum of 6 swords. On top of that, if you use this attack while you have positive spirit, you will actually gain hyper armor, which is low-key kinda pointless, but we'll go over that later. Funny enough, I've actually gone over this martial art before when this game first released, and it was super powerful. I always found it to be an extremely underrated just because any range attack that can't be interrupted is just automatically goated. That's why I found it weird how I don't think I've ever seen a single player actually using this in PvP besides me. But luckily today we'll be going over a buff it's gotten and hopefully shine the spotlight on this amazing martial art for more people to see and use its beauty. So, the only problem I ever really saw with this move was that it had a huge wind-up time before you could even shoot the swords, and then the tracking at close range was absolutely abysmal, but we'll get into that one a little later. So pretty much the changes in patch 1.07 did fix the whole slow wind-up problem. The buff the weapon actually got was it shortened the time it takes to build up energy and shortened the startup sequence, so pretty much it now charges up the blades all super fast. Which obviously is absolutely amazing change to have because most of the time people would see this charging up and they would just instantly start running at you to stop you from shooting your swords off at them. Now they don't have as much time to actually react and run up to you before you shoot them off. One thing to know is you don't have to fully hold down the charge, so you can only spawn out 2 swords or 4 swords, and then lastly of course 6 swords, and let those out alone. You can let it go at any time you want to try and avoid your enemy coming at you anyways, so it wasn't really that big of a deal, but it was still awesome to be able to shoot these out much faster. So something that does kind of suck is something that I went over earlier, is that the tracking can be kind of weird at times. So normally, just shooting these at enemies, the tracking basically doesn't miss, and it can't miss, they're so good from afar. But for some reason, whenever players are right up next to you when you let these loose, it for some reason just goes right past your enemy and doesn't even try tracking them, and then they just hit you in your face. Which is really annoying and brings me back to that whole thing where if you use this in positive spirit and you gain that hyper armor, it's kind of meh. So let's say if someone is right in your face while you cast this, and then these swords themselves already won't hit anyways, then what's the point of having this hyper armor? They're just going to beat you down while the swords they don't even reach them, it just goes right past them. To me, that just doesn't make any sense. Maybe if you're shooting at someone else and their AI or another player hits you from the side, so then you're still able to get off the attack with that hyper armor, I don't know. That's the only time I can ever really see it being useful. But regardless, besides me talking mad shit on this weird part of the weapon, it's still extremely powerful. The swords themselves hit super hard on players, and hitting an unsuspected player with all 6 swords can and will insta-kill them. I will say, there is another thing that's strange about this weapon, is how it actually reacts against different players' levels. So whenever I'm fighting like, let's say a level 80 player, it just does normal decent damage, but whenever I'm facing a player who are like maybe around max level, so 140 to 150, these swords will only hit for like 20 damage a hit. It's very weird. Everything else hits like they scale normally depending on the player's level that I'm facing. For example, if I'm facing a level 50 player and one of my martial arts do, let's say 200 damage for half of his health, I can fight a level 150 player with that martial art and it will hit them for 400 damage, but that's still going to do about half their health. Because it's a higher level player, so it does higher damage, they have more health, but it's still half their health. You get it, it's just very strange. But yeah, there's just some weird, odd reason that the Starlight Blade martial art just doesn't work like that, I guess. The damage drops, and it's not a difference in morale rank either. I'd be even a higher morale rank than my opponent, and it would still just hit them for ass damage. So not really sure what that's all about. Anyways, after that little rant, let's find out how good it is in PvE. Whenever it comes to bossing, honestly it's nothing too special, but I'd say it's best used in a team where if you're uncomfortable with being up in a boss's face, your friends can go and wail on it while you just sit in the back, fire off your protective shots. They don't hit too hard, but obviously it's a safe playstyle, so it is what it is. And then for running through small mobs, the damage hits pretty much just as hard as your regular attacks, so you might as well just use your basic attacks, honestly. Anyways, for the build, you guys already know the drill. Your gear is going to be Lubu's armor, aka Flying General's armor, since it gives us a passive of 11.4% more martial art damage. And then of course for embedments, you just slap on all those embedments that give you more martial art damage. Standard gear for this build revolving around any martial arts, you guys already know how it all works. But overall, these changes are very big for this martial art. We already know speed is king in this game, so making anything faster is an automatic W. It doesn't have a huge spirit cost either, so it's pretty reliable to spam. It has huge damage in PvP if it can hit. Plus being a range attack so it can't be deflanked interrupted it's insane. These reasons are why it's such a sleeper hit and more people really should be using this. But that's going to do it for me, everyone. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel or I'll eat your firstborn child. Anyways, enjoy the rest of these PvP clips and have a good one. Peace.